Welcome to the continued podcast adventures of Superhero Speak.
But I think many of the people that love this character and that love superheroes in general have used these stories as inspiration to say, you know what? I'm going to do something good in the world. I'm going to make a difference like my hero when I was a kid.
That is my fondest memory of it, because when you're doing comic books, you want them to affect people, right? You want people to care. You want to strike emotions, and I knew that Clone Saga was striking a lot of emotions.
Can you imagine Pulp Fiction starring Goofy and Mickey Mouse?
I can totally imagine that.
I'm sure somebody's written that one
quarter
too.
pounder with cheese and France, Mickey. What? Royale with cheese, Mickey. Yeah, I can totally.
See?
I would watch the hell out of that movie.
Yes, I gladly sacrifice that my progeny to you, almighty Marvel beast.
But Neil Adams is somewhere going, it's my time.
How do you measure success? Hey everyone, and welcome to Superhero Speak. I'm your host Dave.
And John.
And JD. Sorry, I sung that. That was unintentional.
Is that your true calling in life? You're going to be a singer?
No, God, no. If my wife heard that, she'd laugh so hard.
Dude, I sang in Disney World and it's still not my calling. Come on.
At least you should...
Hold on, whoa. You sang in Disney World?
You did? Oh, we've talked about this.
Not with JD on the show. How did this happen? No, I don't know about this.
In college, I was singing choir since I was 7. And in college, I mean, I did Cats like 3 times on stage and a couple of other Andrew Lloyd Webber stuff.
We have done this. I made that joke. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
we did Cats, and I was going to make that joke, and I went, oh, wait, I've made that joke before.
Right, yeah.
I'm sorry, John. I forgot.
So it took Cats for you to remember.
Yeah, because you said it the exact same. You said, I did Cats on stage, and I was going to say, and I was going to make a joke.
That sounds familiar.
I'm like, wait a minute, I've made that joke. Oh, yeah, we have had this conversation.
He has a running tally of all of the riffs that he did on
I remember my
just
bad
so he
jokes.
can make sure he doesn't repeat them.
Yeah, I don't like repeating myself. So
someone needs to remember that, the bad jokes.
Someone has to. I got a quota on how many I'm allowed to make.
Nice.
This is true.
Nice.
It's like Logan's Run, man. I'm fastly approaching it.
Yeah, once that light starts flashing in your wrist,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I get to hang out with Jenny at Gutter at the end, so that's okay.
Oh, there you go. So how's everyone doing? John, how was your week? Do anything fun, exciting?
Not really. I was kind of sick on Sunday, so I sat down and had myself a Gamera movie day and went through like, what is it, 4, 5 Gamera movies? And the old ones don't really hold up so well, but the new ones are pretty awesome. So
none of the Gamera movies hold up well, man. I mean, like the wall of like hold up and what that means is vastly depending on the eye of the beholder.
Well, the ones that were done in the late 90s, the 3, and I think there's one after that I don't have yet. Those hold up pretty well. The old ones, it was too centric around the Gamera's the friend of kids, and it was
that was his gimmick though. Like Gamera was the friendly monster.
Yeah. So the newer
really
ones.
Neat. Hey, he's made with turtle meat.
Yeah.
So
the new ones kind of keep that, but they do it in a much better way, and it's it's
over the top, man.
Yeah, no, the newer ones, the 90s, they're not. The old ones, completely understood. But and I shotgunned a new anime that I'm actually really enamored of now. So that's about it. There's like nothing else. Yeah, like I said, except for, oh God, did he post it? Oh God, Instagram. Okay, heart. Okay, Dave, are you happy? So
when you say shotgun an anime, is that like a different term for binging?
Yes.
Is it like done faster? I just never heard that phrase.
It's done under. It's forced. It's done under.
No. That's at 1.5 speed. No, It's just. I'm sorry. I'm showing my age. Shotgun is what you used to say for binge, but in my high school days, you were shotgunning beer, not.
Well, yeah, everyone knows that one, but yeah, fair.
Right. But it's just another way of saying I basically sat down, and when I got up, I realized I've been through 12 freaking episodes. So
we're young and hip on this show. We say binge.
We're old and are losing our hips.
Okay.
My hips are just fine. Thank you very much.
Mine are doing some work.
That's what she said. How about you, JD?
Very uneventful week, actually. Spent a lot of time writing a new book. Friday, the weekend was busy. I worked a bunch of videography stuff. And then, yes, my wife and kid were out of town. They're hanging out at her dad's farm all weekend, 4-day weekend. So yesterday I got some other video work done. We put our dog, our other dog. It was, we had to, she's just in too much pain, and we kind of we made the choice that it was time to put her down.
Sorry, man.
That's okay. I thought she would go first before our other one did. So I've kind of been preparing myself mentally for this for over a year. So I was actually surprisingly relieved now, and I feel guilty for feeling relief on it.
Yeah.
So I know it's just,
but if they're in pain,
that's the thing. Like the other one was so sudden. It was like traumatic a little bit, but this one, it was a little different. Like we had to keep her boarded almost all the time because she couldn't control her bowels anymore. Then it was like, we're keeping her alive for us at this point, So we made the call, and then her and the kids spent the weekend at her dad's. And so I just worked, and I did some reading. You talk about 1.5 speed. I had to finish, because I finished Salem's Lot last week, right? And I figured out, and I just learned that the minister, the priest, right? That from that, I was like, what happened to that character? It's Father Callahan. It turns out he's in The Dark Tower, which is the next book for the one that I had been dragging on finishing. So I listened to it on 1.5 speed because I had the audiobook. So while I was working this weekend, I had The Dark Tower book 4 in my head, and boy, what an ending. But yeah, then I started book 5 while I was working on the line yesterday.
And by working, you mean writing?
No. When I'm doing video work and stuff like that, like I was doing videography. Like I was shooting football on a Friday night, so I'm listening to The Dark Tower by Stephen King while I'm shooting my football team getting annihilated. So,
I was going to say, it's like, how do you write your own stuff while listening to somebody else's?
I can't even do a podcast. Like I can't even listen to podcasts when I'm writing. It's got to be music or it doesn't work. Yeah, this weekend was pretty much about video work, and I made another interesting book decision that I will discuss next week.
Okay.
Oh.
Because I'm not ready to talk about it quite yet, but it's
a little tease.
A little tease.
Yes.
Little tease. But yeah, that was my weekend. Pretty uneventful. I will save what I read for my recommendation.
All right.
That's all I did, so I need to recommend something. So yeah, just busy. Took the kid to the mall today. I took the kid to the mall today. We hung out at the arcade. They have this Luigi Ghostbusters game where you you're Luigi. No, seriously, you're Luigi. You go into the haunted house, and you got they're guns, but they're actually like vacuums. So you're sucking up the ghosts.
Luigi's Mansion.
That's what it's called. Yeah. So me and Andy and I love it. And he just sits there and quotes Ghostbusters the whole time we're doing that. He's like, this ghost is toast. He goes, this chick is toast. And he's trying to suck the thing up. He goes full stream.
Awesome.
Yeah, he loves Ghostbusters more than a child born in the year 2016 should.
That is fun.
It is.
Really,
it's
a
goodness. Blast. So that was my week. How about you, Dave? Make any fun trips?
Oh, me? No. Yeah, actually, I went to New York Comic-Con 2021. First major comic book convention in 2 years. It's one of the big two, San Diego and New York. And San Diego was virtual again this year, but they are doing something small in November. Or at least
the turnout.
That's the interesting thing. So,
because I asked because I saw the pictures that you were sending, and the floors looked really barren.
Thursday was kind of small. Friday was a little more crowded. Saturday you couldn't walk again. So,
okay, so it was like it used to be.
Yeah, they could only sell 75% the normal capacity, but Saturday, and Sunday were sold out.
So 150,000 people is it 280? It was 300,000 before. So that puts
it 300,000?
Yeah, the 1 year was like 300,000.
Yeah, two years ago, the estimate was 280 to 300,000. So that puts it at like 225,000, I guess. That's still a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it was tough getting around on the floor on Saturday, definitely.
Was it the same amount of space?
So here's the interesting thing, and everyone I talked to, we all kind of said the same thing. It was weird, right? Because it's New York Comic-Con, and you're expecting a big event, and it didn't feel that way, but yet everyone was happy to be back at New York Comic-Con.
Why did it not feel that way?
Because Marvel DC,
Image. Everybody abandoned the Comic-Con. Yeah.
Hell, Rooster Teeth used to have a big thing there, and
Rooster Teeth. Yeah, they're all.
And now,
None of the big vendors and publishers had booths. They all cited the same thing: health concerns, travel restrictions. You know, you can shake your head all you want, but like, I understand the theories around Marvel and DC, but like Image.
Yeah, you're right. Image ain't gonna have its own. Neither will Dark Horse. Yeah, that makes sense.
Crunchyroll, was Crunchyroll there?
No, Crunchyroll wasn't there.
See, that's another big one though.
Konami normally has a huge Yu-Gi-Oh booth. They're in Japan. It was travel restrictions. They couldn't come to the United States.
Wow.
Netflix didn't have a booth there this year. You know, now they had things to kind of make. Funko didn't set up.
Funimation. What about them?
Funimation did have a booth, yes.
Okay.
And Bandai. Funimation and Bandai both had.
Surprised because they would be under the same travel restrictions.
You would think, but I think Bandai has an American arm, and I think that's who was there.
Funimation might too then.
So yeah, so you had those. eBay had a huge booth. Yes, they were giving away comics, and they had a giant line for the comics.
What comics were they giving away?
Like stuff that was
like grab bag type stuff?
No. A lot of them were CGC'd, and they were like Silver Age books.
Really?
That they bought on eBay, and then they were like, they did an auction, and then they did a thing where like, if you got a ticket, you got in line, and you got a random comic.
I wonder what possessed eBay to do that. That's very interesting.
I guess they're trying to build brand recognition.
And that tape, and sounds like there were plenty of extra tables, and New York Comic Con probably just probably like, let's fill those tables.
Maybe
look.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. That's all I'm going to say. Paramount did have a big Star Trek thing set up.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What did the main floor look like? I mean, because usually it's just like wall to wall with all those vendors booths. I haven't been there about 6 years, but
it was a little more spread out than normal, definitely.
It was Artist Alley. I remember that being much more condensed than it looked in your pictures.
Yeah, Artist Alley was a little more. Artist Alley, that didn't shock me as much because and I know its perception is 9/10 of everything. It felt more like Artist Alley when it was in the old building because they had more room there and they had it spread out. So it was again downstairs in one of the rooms, so it was more spread out.
They're not finished with the big building,
and it wasn't as deep as it normally is. But I mean, it still had a good turnout. That was the other thing. I think I mentioned this to other people, not to people in Artist Alley. I noticed as we were getting closer to the con. Of course, we know a lot of independents from doing this show for so long. A lot of them were getting tables this year. People that normally don't get approved for Artist Alley at New York Comic Con because they normally stick to people who've worked for the big publishers. And so that was interesting. Though, I mean, there are also some of the same, Mike Golden was there, Greg was there, Brian K. Vaughan was there, so like there were some big names there too, but not as many as normal. And Snyder was there. So
yeah, I know Comixology did a big thing for him.
So yeah, I mean, so that they can make that argument like Marvel and DC might not have a booth, but they're represented by the people that have worked for them. I get it. And what was the other thing? Okay, so the big thing that came out of New York Comic Con, and I'm so pissed about this. Friday night, about 5:00, I was like, so I went with my brother-in-law, and I was kind of like, I'm tired. He's like, yeah, let's just go. We went and got a bite to eat at a restaurant like down the street from the hotel. Get back to the hotel, get all relaxed and stuff, and I open up my Twitter messages, and the guys from the Geek World All Stars are like, Dave, tell me you went to the Ghostbusters panel. Dave, how was it? You got to tell us. And I'm like, what are they talking? So I just real quick did a Google search on Ghostbusters. They showed the movie at the panel.
I saw that. It was in my email box. Yeah, my inbox. Wow. Sorry, that's like, surprise. We know that you made sure that you only drank enough where your bladder could last a little bit more than an hour, but we're going to keep you in your seat for 2.5.
So Ivan and what's the son's name? Ivan Reitman's son, JD, is having technical difficulties. People, the one who directed the movie, Jason Reitman. They were both there, and they were like after they asked the cast questions and all that kind of stuff. And my understanding, like that part was really short, and Ivan and Jason Reitman were like, yeah, you know what? We know everyone has been waiting for this for a long time. So you know what? Here, let's just show it. and
it's kind of brilliant because if you think about it, if they do stuff like that next year, people are going to think, should I go to your Comic-Con? Oh my God, they showed Ghostbusters last year. Let's go. Right.
It also shows hella confidence in your product.
True.
Oh yeah.
You know, because you want to get that buzz. You want people talking like, man, Ghostbusters 3 is so good. Yeah. Which, by the way, everybody seems to be. So
yes, I will say that I've been trying to avoid anything that was spoilerish, but everyone's like the basic premise is it's good. You know, like
all except the Guardian, but nobody listens.
Who cares
to
what the Guardian says?
I know it says a slimy, stinking corpse of a sequel. Everybody else is good. It's just the Guardians is like
cares. The Guardian is like the least viable website in the world right now. It's a whiny bitch fest.
Well, we got this covered. Might have got that covered.
That's not even a real outlet.
I know.
The Guardian likes to pretend it's a real outlet.
It does.
83% on Rotten Tomatoes, though.
That's good for a blockbuster. Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because
especially for a sequel.
Look, the whole thing was Thursday we went, and I just wanted to get the lay of the land, kind of a day, you know, walked around. Friday I did a lot of interviews in Artist Alley, you know, to get some of those, and then that's why by the time I got to be like 5, I'm like, I'm tired, you know, and then old. Saturday was my press day. Did 2 press rooms, which the first one was based on the recommendation of Joey DiCarlo, who I did see, by the way, at the convention. So shout out to Joey. On Thursday he came. We hung out for a little bit, but Ghost Hunters, because he actually knows one of the guys from the show. He's the one guy's from Boston, and like that's Joey's neck of the woods, and they were really cool. Like it was a smaller press room, John. There were only 2 tables of press.
Oh wow, that is small.
And so they had the host of the show of Ghost Hunters, and they had the hosts of the show Kindred Spirits, which they cross over. So what they did is one table had the host of Kindred Spirits, the other had the host of Ghost Hunters for a half hour, and then they switched us.
Wow, half an hour is long too.
So we had like a half hour with both of them.
We were lucky to get 10 minutes with anybody back.
So it's different, man. Different world.
Yeah. So they were all really cool. It was a fun conversation, which is weird because then it was followed up with Joshua Renner from Source Point Press. I went and talked to him, and his new book is based on the Winchester Mansion. His new comic.
The Winchester Mansion's really interesting. If anybody doesn't know, you want to tell a story, because I actually I learned that story when I was 8, and I've always been interested in
it was there. I can't remember her first name, but the
widow Winchester. The
widow Winchester, who was the heir to the Winchester fortune, believed that ghosts of people who were killed by their rifles were haunting her.
And this is the early 20th century.
Yes, early
1900s.
And so what she did is she kept constantly, her house was being built onto and they would do things like staircases that go nowhere, doors that don't do anything, to confuse the ghosts, to keep them away from her.
She would go into this room. I think she called it the Blue Room, and she would quote unquote listen to the ghosts, and she would draw up the plans herself and then hand the plans to these guys. And of course, she's the widow Winchester. She has all this money. People are just going to build what she wants.
Because that's America.
And there was, I think there was originally 5 stories, and then they lost 2 in one of the earthquakes.
So she thought that she could confuse ghosts with staircases and rooms.
Staircases and rooms that go nowhere.
Yeah.
Upside down staircases that go.
There's actually there was actually a special on that. This is where I originally heard about it. There was a special, I think, on Netflix that I watched like a few years ago. It's when I originally heard about this thing. And construction went going until the day she died. Like when she died, that's when the construction stopped. So he got to go to the house, talk to the people who are the caretakers now, got to hear all the stories. And so basically the comic is half historical accuracy of like the situation and half of, ghost stories that he intertwines into the comic based on what people,
really
the
cool.
lore. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So needless to say, look for that. Look for the Ghost Hunters and the Winchester stuff to be put together as possibly a Halloween episode this year for us. I think that would be a cool way to do it. So, and then the other press room I had was Why the Last Man, and I think they had like the entire cast in this room, or close to it.
Did they show any more than what we saw originally?
Not in the press room, and I did not go to the panel.
Gotcha. Oh, I thought you did.
Oh wait, hopefully they're not listening to this. But and like that was a much more full room, John, as you can imagine. It's the new big show based on the big comic book property, and so we got like literally I think 5 minutes with each person.
Do we really think that this is going to be big though?
For Hulu, I think it's going to be big.
I don't know.
It's really an off Broadway, off center type comic that's like
why the Last Man? No, it's pretty mainstream.
It's critically acclaimed too.
Yeah,
It won a bunch of awards and
Brian K. Vaughan.
highly reviewed. Yeah, Brian K. Vaughan is one of the top writers. So
maybe it's just me. I don't know. It just seems like
I don't think it's going to do great, to be honest with you, because I don't think the trailer looked very good, and I don't know if it's mainstream enough to be a hit. I don't think you're wrong on that aspect, but it's a pretty big deal in this book.
Well, what's interesting is the twist for the show compared to the comic is, and hearing the writer talk about it, it was like, oh, okay. They used the platform of the show to talk about identity, and it makes sense, like what do you base your identity on, the whole thing, and so. And if they created a character for the show who's a transgender man, saying that correct, right? So a woman who transitioned to a man.
Yeah.
So that plays into the show too. Like that's not in the comic, but they added to the show to make the show more about identity. So like that, that was cool. And like you could tell the people that this was definitely a passion project for a lot of them. So it kind of like that alone has made me interested in watching the show. So I'm definitely going to check it out. I need to borrow my daughter's Hulu password so I can watch it. But yeah. So, but with that being said, what else can I say about the convention? So cosplay. So, I mean, anyone who has been watching, if you aren't already following us on Instagram, go head over there now. You'll see lots of cosplay pictures from the convention on there right now. So the top characters, any guesses on who the most popular characters to cosplay this year at New York Comic Con were?
Deadpool.
Yeah, I was going to say Deadpool too.
Nope.
It doesn't really. Well, I mean, there were Deadpools, I'm sure.
Of course there were Deadpools, but not like there's been. Number one, Loki, or a Loki variant.
Yeah, well, that one you get him. Man, you could put on almost everything and then slap the word variant on your back.
So the best one.
I'm looking at the Scarlet Witch one. That looks really good. I'm on your feed.
Second most popular, obviously, was Scarlet Witch, and then the runner-up was Chucky.
Oh yeah, new Chucky show.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that was a thing until I got to the convention and there were ads playing for it. I'm like, what is this?
Isn't that weird? They tried to reboot the Child's Play franchise because they still had the rights to Child's Play, but the original Chucky rights are tied up with someone else.
Yeah, that is weird. So the funny thing about that is, my daughter has always been deathly afraid of those movies and the doll. So I would take pictures of the cosplayers.
We had my little brother had the original My Buddy that Chucky was based on growing up.
Oh,
because we were just the perfect age for it. So, spooky.
But yeah, no, a lot of, one of the best variants that I saw, it's two guys together. This is definitely on the Instagram. I believe one was Spider-Man. The other was Ghost Rider. And when you first look at him, it's like, this is a near pitch perfect Ghost Rider costume. Then you notice he's got the horns on. They're painted silver to match the helmet, or the skull. And then he has variant on the back of the jacket.
Oh yeah, look at that. I'm looking at that right now. That's really cool. Yeah. Kudos to whoever you are underneath that mask. It's very creative.
Yes, so he was the Ghost Rider Loki variant. I thought that was brilliant. So
I love cosplayers.
Yes.
Oh, dude, I thought it was Godzilla. I thought someone actually cosplayed a perfect Godzilla. It is actually a statue.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice that they had a statue.
I took that one just for you guys.
Appreciate it.
I said I saw a Godzilla statue. I have to take this for John and JD. I have to. So yes.
How big was it? Oh, it was quite big, right?
That's what she said. No, it was probably about 6.5, 7 feet tall.
So not as big as like the Transformer cosplayers that have been in there before. With
the biggest statue was, I'm pretty sure I posted this, the monkey form of Goku.
Oh, the Ozaru. Yeah.
That thing was giant. And it was right when you walked in the main entrance, and it was like, oh my goodness.
This dude here is the greatest American hero.
Yes.
Yeah, that never dies. That will never die.
It's my age, and people still are familiar enough with it. It's left a strange impact on culture. They're kind of unexpected.
Because it was honest. They're rebooting Chucky, but and they're doing all these other now they're talking about another Star Wars prequel when they've got the greatest American hero just sitting there. Whoever's got the rights to that should be.
Well, they did try rebooting it a few years ago, and it never made it to TV.
Yeah, because it wasn't good. I think the thing with the Greatest American Hero is what was the actor's name? William Catt.
Yeah,
that's what made that show work, because he's so earnest in the part. He's the heart. He's the most sympathetic character in the original Carrie too. He's the one guy who dies, and you're like, oh, come on, he was a good guy. He was he had this, like I said, this very honest, earnest quality about his performing that was really great.
Well, it was also Connie Selica, and I forget
Selica.
Well, the ship that lost 1,000 fantasies, and then what was it?
Famous, somebody who had quite a career. Yeah, let's to IMDb.
I know, right? I typed, John, what are you doing? Oh, I'm doing my job. That's what I'm doing. It was 1981, and it was William Catt, Connie Selica, Robert Culp.
Robert Culp, yes.
Robert Culp is he's a acting legend, and he was supposed to be this gruff FBI guy, and he brought as much heart to it as William Catt did. They did perfect on the cast.
It shouldn't have been as good as it was.
Yeah,
right.
As we review shows from the 1980s, I almost said 30s. We're not that.
Oh, I also ran into.
It's like you said, it left an impression.
It did.
I also ran into the guys from Ocho Dourle Parlay Hour, and they just call themselves OTP, which I thought was great.
I think that's great. I love those guys. They have a great Twitter hand. Their Twitter feed is great.
Yes. They appreciate us always shouting them out. So
William Catt still looks pretty good, actually. I'm on his IMDb. He's got this Chris Christopherson look to him right now. Someone cast this man in something.
Yeah. You know what? He was in the CW shows.
Was he?
He played in The Flash's Wedding. He played the minister. The minister. Yeah. Oh. Who got disintegrated.
Yeah. Who he should play? He looks like in this picture, Norman McKay of Kingdom Come, the faithless preacher.
Oh.
Yeah. Throwing that up. They're trying to manifest that into the world.
A live action Kingdom Come, huh?
I think that would be awesome. Personally.
Could they do that?
I think so. If you just cast older, or just cast now, look at it like this. Michael Keaton could absolutely play the Batman.
Yeah, definitely.
Screw it. Linda Carter, put her as Wonder Woman. Or if you want to keep the ages Wonder Woman, what's her name is right there, Gal Gadot.
Yep.
Superman. All you gotta do is touch up Henry Cavill a little bit, give him some gray. This could totally work.
God damn, you're right.
John Cena as Magog. Make it happen.
Oh man.
Oh God. You'd have to have a ham for that. Yep.
Oh, you have to have a ham, and he is hammy.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I think Kingdom Come as a feature film could work.
All right,
DC, call me. You won't. You didn't last time.
No, they won't. They'll just make it.
Really should call you. Yes.
And they'll go, we own it, so we don't have to get your permission to make it.
They didn't call me when they turned me down that time. They just sent the editor to say, yeah, this thing you worked a year on, we're not doing that. So, that's pretty cool. That was really cool.
Moving on.
Oh, and then the other thing I have to say, I have to mention on the show, I almost forgot. So John originally had gotten a pass and then decided not to go. we were going to give the pass to our good friend Montego Bradley from Fans on Patrol, and he decided not to go. It had nothing to do with fears or anything. His daughter goes to school in New York, and he was going to go see her while he was at the convention. But then she said not to come out till like next month. So he didn't want to go to New York twice. So he decided to hold off. So I kind of half joking around put a post on Facebook about, you can't even give away a pass to New York Comic Con. And a good friend of the show, Ben Goldsmith, messaged me and he's like, do you really have an extra pass? And I'm like, yeah. So he got a pro pass this year and wasn't able to get an extra pass for his fiance.
Oh.
So I gave it to him so he and his fiance could enjoy their time together at New York Comic Con.
That was very kind.
And I will say he was extremely grateful. Like, honestly, like, you can tell when someone's like being sincere when they're saying thank you. In fact, he even messaged me today, like, I just got to say one more time, man, that was really cool. Thanks for the pass. So
nice.
Yeah. So he was happy. It's funny because he wasn't there with Source Point this year. He's got a new book out that's not with Source Point. He's gone with a different publisher, and that publisher didn't have a presence, and so he kind of just was floating, shaking hands. You know how it is, JD. Doing the do. So
it's the way to be.
Yes. Yeah. So more on Ben later on in the show, but yeah. So it was great. I will say that also. I'm sorry. I know I was posting stuff as if I was there on Sunday, but I didn't go on Sunday. We decided to go home. My brother-in-law wanted to be home by 6:00. That was the first issue. The second issue is, John, we normally stay at the Hampton, right?
The Hilton Hampton, or I forget which one. And right there.
And they do a bag check, right? For Sunday.
Yep.
And then you come back after the show and pick up your bags.
Right.
The Holiday Inn Express does not offer a bag check.
Oh.
And
that's right. Because when we were there, we took all our bags and we forced them to let us up into the car. Which they normally don't do either.
Yes. So we walked out of the hotel holding all our bags and went. We could spend 20 minutes trying to get through security with these, then pay to have them a coat check at the convention, or we could just go home. Just to spend a couple hours just so you could be home by 6. I was like,
well, and also if you stay at the convention until 5, you're not getting home until 11 that night because of all the traffic.
Yeah, we took the train.
Oh, you took the train. Oh, wow. The train. What a fun.
So that wasn't like, so we weren't worried about traffic. It was just like, but that's the other thing though, on Sunday, the later you get, the more spread out the trains become too. So we're like, we'll just go home. So I still had pictures I hadn't posted. So I kept posting them as if I was still
smart.
Shh. Oh wait, I just gave it away.
Yeah, you gave away the gimmick, but smart nonetheless.
So yeah, but yeah, no, I had a really good time. I was happy to be at a convention again, and especially a huge one like that. So hopefully it's even better next year. Hopefully we're past all this other garbage by next year.
Well, I'm hoping it's on for a little while longer. Now I'm thinking about getting a table at C2E2 and selling some books because I'm hoping it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it'll definitely be cheaper. They got to do something to draw people back, right? Mm-hmm. We'll see. By January, we'll know how everything goes.
True.
Right? Because
Fan Expo bought up the Wizard shows.
They did.
So you could do is it going to be called Fan Expo Chicago now instead of Wizard
probably?
World?
When is that? Didn't that already happen?
Oh, you know what? I think
because Wizard World Chicago is usually in August.
I think.
Yeah.
I actually think I saw posts that it's either coming up or it was a couple weeks ago.
Sitting in front of a computer.
Yeah.
Fan Expo Chicago.
Because I think it's going to be the first one that they're running is Chicago, if I remember correctly.
When is this? Give me a date. I'm on the site. There's no date announced for 2022.
Oh, okay.
So has not come as of yet. Coming soon. It says formerly Wizard World.
You're still working through the merger then?
Yeah.
Probably. C2E2, buy badges before October 24th. I guess I should be on that.
C2E2 must be what I saw advertised coming up. People talking about. So.
Oh, wow. That's in December. They moved that either super early or super late, depending on how you want to look at it.
Probably, I would imagine super late, hoping to get past
That's actually pretty terrible for me because that's wrestling season. So never mind.
Well, it's also December. Like it's really. I mean, most people are trying to, shop for Christmas and
Yeah, but,
done.
but you can shop for Christmas at a comic book convention. If
There
that's
you go.
Not for my family.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you, I agree. I think honestly, between us, I think it's a terrible date. Absolutely terrible date. But I know McCormick is probably thirsting for some business there. So,
Yeah. So cons are starting to slowly creep back. I think that's the best way to put it. We'll see how things progress. So, moving on. I know you're not watching JD. John, did you watch the finale of What If?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I know it's not your cup of tea because it ended on a kind of a high note.
No. I don't mind the way that it ended, but I feel that I knew it's where they were going, but yeah, they truly violated the spirit of the What If standalone stories, because they brought everything together. We now have the multiverse Avengers.
God damn it, that's so stupid.
Why is it stupid?
Because they're supposed to be their own thing. Everyone is supposed to be a little pocket story, not like one universe where all this shit happens.
The Defenders of the Multiverse, I think that's what they called it. Yeah. So you got Black Widow in a universe where Ultron won and basically killed everyone. You got Captain Carter instead of Captain America. We got Thor from the universe where Loki was never adopted, so he's party Thor, which I thought was weird. The weirdest one was Killmonger, but
he was brought in. He was brought in as a Suicide Squad.
Spoiler! The Watcher brings him in for a reason.
Right.
But yeah, Killmonger, and who else?
He was brought in to be Killmonger,
and
basically.
Doctor Strange, who might be the most powerful being in the multiverse from that episode.
One of them.
The evil Doctor Strange, right?
Evil, yeah.
Right.
Kind of evil, kind of not. More misunderstood.
He's got just a little bit of Shumagorath just showing on his face,
It's
just a little bit of the mini angled ones, and in his casting.
He did it for love, That's all you got to know,
So he would do anything for love,
but he won't do that.
But he did do that, and that's why.
That's true. That's why he's all. Yes.
That's why shouldn't do that.
That's why Meatloaf wouldn't do that thing.
Exactly. Meatloaf is smarter.
Let's just say I can sympathize with Doctor Strange. That's all. That Doctor Strange, What do you think
Meatloaf was actually talking about in that song?
I don't even want to think about it. It's Meatloaf. And the first time I heard that,
what wouldn't Meatloaf do?
I don't know.
Obviously nothing, because he did the.
He would do anything for love, but he won't do that. Of course, your brain goes right to the gutters. I mean,
he did the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
You mean like
he did do the Rocky Horror Picture Show? Yeah,
right to the gutter. You mean like entering through the back door?
That's what I thought too. Every time it was like, would he not do the the poop shoot thing?
All right. I think we're off topic here.
We're keeping it clean. We're not saying
this is
it.
not clean.
Which is not what happens if you go through that door.
Oh, come on, man.
You do not keep it clean.
I'll just you guys tell me when you're going to finish this conversation. I'm not.
Superhero speak for all your poop shoot news.
I'm not going to be part of this.
Oh, episode title.
Poop shoot news.
Poop shoot news.
Wait, I thought you said
it's like the boot scoot boogie, but not at all.
I thought you said we weren't going to do. We got this covered stuff. I mean,
that is what they do. Yes,
they do the poop shoot news.
They do the poop shoot news. all the news that's fit to shit.
Oh my god!
They could have that if they want for their site, because it's actually pretty good. I'll let them have it.
So I will say the only odd thing about that episode was that Gamora, they didn't have an episode with her.
So when Killmonger becomes that's Killmonger Star-Lord, right? In this universe? I thought that was the episode.
No, he's Black Panther.
Oh, I'm sorry. Where did I get Star-Lord? I was way off. I withdraw.
T'Challa is Star-Lord.
That's what I thought. Okay. Yeah.
T'Challa, so they have the T'Challa Star-Lord and the Black Panther Killmonger in the episode together. So that was interesting dynamic.
But you asked about Gamora.
Yeah, the Gamora who had the stone crusher, they didn't have an episode with her in it.
That's because they do have an episode with her, and they didn't show it. They've saved it for season 2. because the rumor is that they didn't show it because it has some kind of plot point or something in it that they're saving for the next few Marvel movies, that it would reveal something that they don't want to show yet.
If there is a rumor on some random ass YouTube site, John is going to sniff it out.
I don't. Hey, I'm paid for research. Okay, I'm not paid for research, but I just swim in those waters and I hear
you do.
Things. But this seems to have something about it, because there is an episode that they took out of the lineup and didn't show.
There is I saw on Superhero Hype, there is a lost episode, but I didn't read the article because I assumed they were talking about the Spider-Man episode that they weren't allowed to do.
No, this is an actual episode that's finished that they did not air.
Because they wanted to do the Spider-Man turn into a spider thing, and Disney said no to that.
Oh, they want to do the other?
No, there was actually a what if where he turns into a spider. So they wanted to actually recreate that what if, and they said no.
Good call on Marvel's part on that one.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know,
they still did the zombies.
But but the zombies is the better idea. And the zombies has like the Kirkman. I don't want to say stink because it's not really stink, but it's like it's a Kirkman thing. So I mean, the zombies have reached like a prominence, and they have like a nice little coat on now.
It has the Kirkman parfum.
I don't even know what that means, but I'll use it.
But yes, and that's the other thing we are going to get. Apparently, we are getting a season 2 of What If. So Loki and What If are the only 2 shows we're getting season 2s for, as far as we know. So far, yes. Cap will be continuing into the movies. Falcon, Winter Soldier.
But it's Cap. It's going to be Cap, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
And I mean, you can't really. How could you do a sequel for WandaVision, a season 2 for WandaVision?
Ask me that again when we get this next Doctor Strange movie.
That's true. Could this all be red herrings?
I don't know. I mean, who the hell knows what's going to happen now? Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, if they had gone to New York Comic Con and saw all the people dressed as Scarlet Witch, they might have been like, "Oh, we need to do a season 2."
Well, she's gonna be in the Doc Strange movie. So I imagine something. I don't know.
Well, actually, we have a story related to that. We'll get to that in a minute.
We'll touch on that later.
So, yeah, but
yes.
What?
I've got a few things we could add to the news.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, do you have anything more to say about What If?
No, I don't. And if you want to get social media madness out of the way, then we can. In fact, we could skip it altogether and just go straight to the news.
All right. Well, social media madness is super short this week, so you can calm down. The first is an annoyance.
Fair.
Of how Twitter works. Okay.
Fair. Mm-hmm.
So, guys, you remember many, many moons ago, we did a commentary track for Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Lost an entire Sunday. Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
Lost an entire Sunday.
It was fine. We didn't hate it, but
we didn't hate it. We kind of were like medium about the whole thing,
which is better than we expected. We expected disaster.
It was definitely better than the Whedon cut.
It was watchable. It was very watchable.
It was watchable. Yes.
It was more fleshed out. You know, the whole thing, and of course, Crazy Joe from Mega Podtastic went on a rant. Couldn't believe we liked that version of the movie. The
liked cut. It better
than from April, mind you.
Yeah.
Yes, from April. He went on a rant, and like one of the main things that he kind of was harping on, which in some senses it can make or break a movie, but I really don't feel that it was that big of an issue, was the soundtrack. He was saying that the Whedon soundtrack was better than the Snyder soundtrack.
He might be right about that. I mean, I don't remember either.
But
neither
I mean,
stuck out to me. So.
I mean, the thing is, right? Yeah. Neither one stuck out, and we were kind of talking so much through the movie. It was like we were. What's the term I'm looking for? We were like
entertaining ourselves.
We weren't paying attention to details like the soundtrack.
I mean,
I think we made a joke about. I think Hallelujah was used like 1,000 times in the movie.
Oh yeah, because that's Zack Snyder.
Well, also the Snyder cut, like the Whedon cut, was woefully devoid of the Aquaman Tabernacle Choir. So you know.
So that was
snappier without that.
But so his whole thing was back in the April, right? Big long tirade, and then just today, Jason Quinteros decided
Jason bunch of numbers.
Yeah, that's his Twitter handle. Decided to jump on this thread, talking to Joe, basically saying he liked the Snyder soundtrack better, and like went on a tirade back and forth. And I'm like, but because we're tagged in the original, like then all these tweets keep popping up in our feed, and it's just like,
okay.
So I'm just gonna say, right, Joe and
Troll
and Troll Jason, can you stop tagging us going forward? We don't care. We watched the movie. We like the Snyder cut better. We think the soundtrack is inconsequential to the quality of the movie.
That doesn't mean we like the Snyder cut. It just means we like it better than the original, right? We're talking levels here.
Jason Budge Numbers is the type of guy who goes into that search bar and looks to pick a fight.
I think so. I totally agree.
This is a burner account with 21 followers.
Wow, that's more than me.
Who has only been on here since May, and all of his tweets are about the Snyder Cut and Ray Fisher. And this is a troll account. So
yes,
I think we closed the door on this particular conversation.
Okay.
And Joe, don't pay him any more attention. Okay. And then, of course, the next one I had to include just because
gotta get Tim his shout out.
Get Tim his shout out for the week. So, of course, last week's episode was named by John Legal Beagle Spiegel, and I was able to find Snoopy as a lawyer.
Love it.
Wearing his little hat and carrying a little briefcase.
Snoopy's like 800 years old. Of course, you found a picture of him doing literally anything. That's cool.
And Timothy Jones says, "Love this Snoopy."
Yes. Yeah.
So, and JD replied, "Litigator Snoopy." So
good pick, Dave.
It is a good pick.
So Tim, there you go. There's your shout out. Don't forget, Sour Grapes available in finer comics across the nation. And then finally, I have a plea to Ray from Gorilla Brain Podcast. It's one thing to do this in the chat that we have going for the Geek World All Stars, but when you start bringing it out onto the main Twitter, I'm half tempted to block you.
I was so confused.
So, all right. So you want context?
Not really. I figured this is an inside joke that didn't land on.
Exactly, but that's the whole problem. It's an inside joke that doesn't land on Twitter. Mm-hmm. So obviously. Oh, that's the other thing. Make sure you go to superheroespeak.com. I do have little blogs from the different days of the convention, with a couple of photos from the floor and whatnot, and my stuff I did for the day. You should check it out. And so on day 3, obviously I tweeted out to go check out the blog post on the website and the Gorilla Brain Podcasts. And it was a picture on the floor and, the crowd's on the floor. And he said, that line is to touch Dave's biceps was outrageous. So, they keep making jokes, especially Ray, about me being some kind of womanizer and, going to the gym just so I can meet women and all this stuff. And just,
if anybody's been to a gym lately or over the last 10, 15, 20 years, that's not where you go to meet women.
There's like 5 women that come to my gym. Nobody lifts at the same time, but none of the 5 women ever wear freaking masks, and it drives me insane.
So you're saying even if you go there to meet women, the women you meet are not going to be...
Well, where I live in the freaking boonies. So
well, I live near the Amish, so
yeah,
like I'm not in the boonies.
Do the Amish go to the gym, and do they lift in their Amish clothing?
Their area, their farms are their gym. Trust me. Those guys could probably bench press a mountain.
Oh, no doubt.
Do the Amish go to the gym?
Do the Amish go to the gym? This is a legitimate question.
It sounds like the beginning of a song. I mean,
yeah, or a parable,
or a book,
But seriously, if there's any Amish people listening, that was a joke. But if anyone knows anyone Amish, like, can they go to the gym? Could they get a gym membership? Like, could they just lift free weights and not touch the machines?
Don't think so.
I don't know. Would that be against like the Amish code or whatnot?
As far as I know, I don't know what I don't know.
Go ask your neighbors.
Not something that I've ever like.
Go ask your neighbor if he wants to. Go ask him if he wants to go to the gym and just see how he reacts.
I will. You know what? I'll ask the vendor, the guy down the street.
I'm dead serious. What, like you say, hey man, you want to go? I need to get some squats in. Do you want to come to the gym and lift with me? Just see what they say. I don't think
I'll phrase it that way.
I need a spotter for the bench. Like, I'm legitimately curious if the Amish can go to the gym.
Okay, I'll ask. I know the guy that runs.
Well, because I know like Amish the Mennonites. The Mennonites have like these weird, like you can drive a car, but it can't have like air conditioning.
Well, it depends on which sect of the Mennonites. Like they all have different rules.
Right, and they're all kind of like, really, you can do this, but you can't do that. So
you can have a washer, but you can't have a dryer. I mean,
yeah, stuff like that. It's like, so weird. Like God is going to get mad because you wanted to dry your clothes electrically. Come on, man. Yeah, I know. It's intriguing, and I know for a fact. We don't have a Mennonite audience. Do we? Do we have a Mennonite audience?
I don't know. We might be upsetting them right now.
Like you can have an iPhone, but it can't have 4G. It can only have Wi-Fi.
You're making that up, right?
Yes, 100%. I'm making it up. Absolutely. If you find that I'm making fun of the Amish, the answer is yes, I am. So
yes, well, because
the Amish can cancel me. Canceled by the Amish. Now that is a title. I'm going to write that down.
Canceled by the Amish. That would. How do they do that? That would have to be like a letter writing campaign.
They don't know what canceling is. The room spring a rumble. I can go on like this for a while. Please stop me.
All right.
No, for real though. Next time you see an Amish, Mennonite, whatever, ask them if they can go to the gym, and then please report back to Superhero Speak because I got to know the answer to this question.
Well, while JD ponders that question, here's our good friend T Square to tell you how you can get more Superhero Speak. Follow us on social media.
Enjoying the show? Want to be part of social media madness? Make sure you are following superheroespeak.com, where you can find all of the show's social media links at the top of the page. While you're there, you can check out old episodes of the podcast as well as some other great content. Check the site often because we are posting some great comic reviews as well as comic book and movie news content every day. Make sure and follow us on Twitter at SuperheroSpeak. And while you're there, check out the rest of the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network. You can follow them at @stars_geek. The Geek World All-Star Podcast Network include great programs such as the Pop Prison Power Podcast, Cult 45, So Wizard, Fans on Patrol, the Gorilla Brain Podcast, and of course, Superhero Speak. Search for #GWAllStars. You will not be disappointed. Now it's back to Dave and the boys on Superhero Speak.
Wow.
That's a question.
Thanks for that, Don. Don't forget to check out the Omega Level Nerds podcast. Available on iTunes. Not iTunes. Well, yeah, iTunes, but
of course it's on iTunes. Everything's on iTunes.
YouTube and wherever podcasts are available. Oh my goodness. And on that note,
breathe, Dave, breathe.
On that note, John's gonna leave and go talk to his Amish neighbor, and we'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Jebediah!
After these messages, we'll be right back.
That's how you got to contact him, right?
Yeah, that's basically it. I mean,
I got to call my neighbor. Jebediah!
Well, you have to get them during the day because they're allowed like a kind of a payphone like thing on their property.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about, man. Like they're allowed a payphone. I don't know.
It's not like a payphone. It's just a single like landline phone in a box at the edge of their property. I don't know the rules.
I know, that's the thing. The rules for the Amish, they're just so. Oh, sorry. My wife just texted me because why are you yelling? It's a bit for the podcast.
I thought the Amish were texting you. All right.
No 4G, only Wi-Fi.
Hey, just remember, if there's an apocalypse, they're the people to go to. Like, if anybody's going to survive an apocalypse,
if there's an apocalypse, we're all going to be dead. It doesn't matter.
Well,
that's what an apocalypse is.
Well, you've got a better chance of survival with somebody who knows how to grow food, and live without electricity.
Fair.
Okay. All right. Well,
them and the damn dirty hippies.
We're back, but we did not get an answer from the Amish.
My wife just told me I'm stupid. So she's not wrong.
Because of the Amish?
No, because I told her, I said I was doing a bit for the podcast. I was calling the Amish, and she said, you're dumb. Not wrong.
So,
all right. So are you guys familiar with? Go ahead.
Just tell me when I can interject when you want to add something to this. I've got two little things I wanted to add.
All right. Well, first off, we're gonna
to the Amish or to something else.
No.
Oh
my gosh! No, dropping the
done
Amish.
With the Amish. Okay.
The Amish bit is dead.
Drop the Amish.
That's my new EP.
Oh God!
Dropping the Amish. I'll release that mixtape on Spotify coming soon.
Is that how the kids say it these days?
The ones in.
Do you cover Amish Paradise as the first song?
No, that would be too obvious. I don't have any other jokes to make at the moment because I'm not sharp enough.
Is that what you is that how you say you're going camping? I'm dropping the Amish.
All right. So you guys are familiar with the Hellraiser series of movies?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Based on the Hellbound Heart by Clive Barker.
Yes.
Just went through a whole bunch of reviews with the Cinema Snob. So,
are you aware that
on the Hellraiser movies?
Yeah, he's been doing reviews of the Hellraiser movies.
The original or the bad ones?
All of them, and yes, including the bad ones. And it's hysterical when he reviews the bad ones.
They get really bad.
Yes.
Oh, when they went to space, as with all horror movies, that's when it was like.
Yeah,
well, you have to go to space.
Yes, there's a rule. Like once you're out of shit to do, it's like, well, now it's time to go to space.
Leprechaun, Jason, they've all been to space. So
they've all been to space.
Critters
has also been to space. Dude, Jason in space was fantastic.
So anyway, they're rebooting the Hellraiser series.
I saw that.
And they cast Pinhead. It is Jamie Clayton.
I have no opinion on this whatsoever because as JD was alluding to, most, if not all of the sequels have been anywhere between, barely watchable to
a woman.
I was going to say, it's a woman. She is known for the L Word, Sense 8, and Generation Q.
Yes, but it doesn't matter. It's like it's going to be the writing, and
I imagine people are up in arms because it's a woman playing a Cenobite who are in fact interdimensional demons. But
there's Cenobites that were women. I mean,
that's the thing. There were already female characters. I'd have to see a clip. I don't know how I feel about it yet.
Here's my thought. If Clive Barker doesn't care, none of us should care.
Right.
Oh, of course.
Right.
And I'm sure he doesn't.
No, Clive Barker didn't give a crap.
Because you're talking about a dead franchise,
it shouldn't even be a franchise. It's a novella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? The Hellbound Heart is a messed up novella, by the way. I don't know. Hellraiser was cool. We should stop there.
Right. Exactly.
Very rarely do. I don't know. Sometimes they get better, the horror franchises. Rarely is that true?
I don't know. It just goes back to Hollywood is out of ideas.
Yeah, they are. We can't. All we're seeing is reboots and
it's
sequels.
They're not out of ideas.
Why can't they? Why do they have to reboot Hellraiser? Why can't they just come up with a new horror franchise with a female protagonist or antagonist?
Because we're talking, right? You don't get that and they do. Hollywood is all the time. There's all kinds. We're in the middle of a horror renaissance. That's the only place that is doing new stuff is horror movies, right? Blumhouse is making great horror movies right now. This is the golden era, silver era of horror movies. But Hollywood wants franchises, right? And they see that there's a golden era of horror movies going on. How do we get out of this? Let's do something that's the thing is they make safe bets. They make safe bets.
It didn't work with Friday the 13th. It didn't work with Krueger. It doesn't work with Evil Dead.
They got a few sequels out of Jason that were half decent.
No.
Okay, not the reboot though.
We're talking about the reboot.
Oh yeah, no, not the reboot. No,
they rebooted in 2009, and nobody made another one. I talked about it when we did our best reboots with the Nightmare on Elm Street one. No, it didn't work with Evil Dead. No reboot. It didn't work with Child's Play. Right? We joked about that earlier. No horror movie franchise has successfully been rebooted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why do it again?
Texas Chainsaw, maybe.
That's because it was uber violent.
Yeah, well, the original Texas Chainsaw was uber violent.
Right. Yeah. And so there's a fan base for that.
Would you consider it a reboot? Because it's more of a different adaptation of a book, right?
Well, one's a TV, made-for-TV movie,
Yeah.
one's a theatrical movie.
Both based off a book. So it doesn't count, right? As a reboot.
Yeah, I mean, you can say the
No.
same thing about Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
That's true. That's a very good
Yeah.
point, actually.
So,
I mean, who
Yeah.
cares? Like, are people going to see a Hellraiser remake? You want my honest opinion? No.
yeah, I don't
Like, it
think
could
so.
be. It could be awesome. Like, horror fans are super loyal, and if it gets good buzz, they'll go see it and they'll make it special. But I mean, if I were them, I wouldn't spend a whole lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, you can make a horror movie on a budget and still, and I guess because of the name recognition, you could still make a good profit off of it. Because if your horror movie only costs like 20 million, you make 30, 40 million of it. Well, you've doubled your.
That's Blumhouse. That's literally their business model. They make cheap, but not like Corman cheap, but like cheaper horror movies, and they're all awesome, and they make a shit ton of money.
Kind of sad, but
it works. They're like the Blumhouse people are making original movies.
Oh, well, I'm not
just
talking about Blumhouse is like, they're like.
Okay, no, I take that
artists.
back. I take that back. You know what horror franchise has been successfully rebooted? Halloween.
Hmm.
The
Is that a reboot?
It's a deboot. It's a deboot. As I've done the Halloween continuity tree before.
Right.
I'll do it again because
You
it's the season.
I thought that it was supposedly to drive people mad to try and figure that
Dude,
out.
it's like a Lovecraft thing. It's like you're looking at the mountains of madness trying to figure out the continuity of Halloween. But the sequel to the one that came out in 2018 is coming out in a couple weeks. So
Yeah,
that's a success. But again, it isn't. You're right. It isn't a reboot. It's a deboot.
Mm-hmm.
right, because they get rid of all the movies in between.
They get rid of everything after 2.
Right.
Right, because in this one, Jamie Lee Curtis is not. Laurie Strode is not Michael's sister.
But they also did that with H2O.
Okay, here we go. JD's going to do it.
Oh,
All
no.
right, so let's do this. This is my
But
favorite thing.
H2O said all
Separate.
the movies in between
Hold on.
didn't
Yes,
exist.
Let's do this. Let's do it. The original Halloween continuity tree goes Halloween 1, Halloween 2. And Halloween 2, we find out that Laurie is Michael's sister. Halloween 3 is off doing its own thing. Halloween 3 has no bearing on anything. Season of the Witch means nothing. Halloween 4 is the return of Michael Myers, where you start getting Danielle Harris involved as his niece character. Halloween 5, she's in it again. Halloween 6 is the Revenge of Michael Myers, where you find out he's a secret druid thing. Right. And then we effectively end that series. And then we go to H2O. Right. H2O says, no, everything after Halloween 2 did not happen.
I thought it was after Halloween 1. Like there was
Hold on.
one-
I'm not there yet. Okay. H2O says nothing after Halloween 2 happened. Right. And that's with Josh Hartnett and Michelle Williams, where Michael comes back after his sister. Right. Jamie Lee was like, all right, the script's pretty good. I'll do this one. Kevin Williamson wrote it's very like Dawson's Creek meets horror movie. So it kind of sucks, but it's not horrible. And then they had the Halloween Resurrection, where I think Busta Rhymes kills him. And like, it's like, I believe that's what I'm dead serious. It's like a haunted house reality TV thing with Michael Myers.
I think I remember that one.
Sucks ass. It's like, it might be the worst Halloween movie. So then now you had Rob Zombie do the Halloween reboot with his movie, which was not good. And then the sequel, which was not gooder. So those were not good.
Not gooder.
And then they had now the current Halloween Lives movies, right? That one ties off. That one says Halloween 2 never happened. So Laurie Strode is not related to Michael Myers at all. And now she's a grandmother with Judy Greer's her daughter, and then there's another one too. She's actually a grandmother. And now this is the one that coming out is the sequel to that. So there's a lot of like, you talk about multiversal stuff. Like Marvel is a piece of cake if you want to think about Halloween.
I was going to say, Kang walked into those universes, turned right around and said, "Nope."
Oh, dude, Dude, you know who that really all benefits? John Carpenter. He gets a nice sweet check for this all the time.
Nice.
I don't know. To me, it's 1, 2, and H2O, and everything else just throw away.
You see, the new one's pretty good actually. Like
No,
I like Laurie. I like Laurie being Michael's sister. I think that fits into the plot. I think that strengthens the Halloween movies. But these two sequels they're pretty good. So I haven't seen the next one, so I can't say that.
It makes one work better.
It does make one work better. I agree with you 100% on that. But that's also the reality which I've accepted my whole life. And like I have not grown up in a world where Laurie Strode was not Michael Myers' sister. So for me, it's like weird. But I get it if you're a fan of the original Halloween and you think all those sequels suck. I can't fight you on it, you know.
And that was John Carpenter's thing, is the first 2 are just one story.
That's John. Yeah. I agree. But John Carpenter, they said, hey, do you want to do this? And John Carpenter just wants to play video games and get high all the time. So he's like, sure, I'll take a check. I don't want to work.
But it was number 2 that turned that into like the serial killer franchise, like actually introduce the idea of a supernatural, unkillable murderer.
Yeah, it's exactly
the argument.
Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
The argument that John Carpenter makes is everything that happens to Michael Myers is survivable in the first movie.
Yes,
because it's only a second story window that he falls from.
Right, but he's like gone. She looks out the window and he is gone. Like he is disappeared.
Right, exactly.
Like he like disappeared into the ether. So I mean, like you could make the argument that he'd survive
being shot and stabbed, and and people have, and it's been
people
have survived that stuff, right?
But it gets like, I mean, like once John Carpenter leaves the series, because it's not supernatural in the second one, he's still just a lunatic.
Right. Exactly.
Then
he gets blown up at the end.
Yeah, and then it gets supernatural because he was ready for it to be done. See, he wanted these to be like these anthology movies. His mistake was he made the second one connect to the first one, so it makes no sense to start an anthology of films at the third one.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now there's talk of a sequel to the Season of the Witch.
Oh my God.
3. In which case now the continuity is just now it's ridiculous.
Only if they tie Michael Myers into Season of the Witch.
See, they should. Well, he's in the there's a commercial in the movie. Like they're in a bar and they look at the TV and there's a commercial for the Halloween.
Yes.
So that movie, it firmly establishes that Halloween 3 does not take place in the same universe as Halloween 1. Yep. However, the Silver Shamrock Company is linked to the Druids. So it's very easy to tie it all together. Because that's what the Curse of Michael Myers teaches. That Michael Myers was a Druid thingamabobber.
But we threw that away in continuity.
We did throw that away in continuity. Because now Michael Myers isn't supernatural. He's just an octogenarian out there trying to kill people.
Right. Okay, I think we spent enough time on this.
We weren't even talking about Halloween.
I know.
How did we get here?
We were talking about Pinhead, so...
Oh, Pinhead, that's right. I have no interest
wherever
in
you
this
are,
Pinhead.
there you are.
Because Halloween 1 and 2 are the perfect horror movies, and after that, everything else is garbage. All right. So Timothy Chalamet, who is in the Dune movie.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realize is also playing Willy Wonka.
I don't know
yet another reboot.
I don't know why we need a reboot of Willy Wonka. Dude, you know what he's dressed like? Did you guys ever see a Muppets Christmas Carol?
Yeah.
I was gonna say. So we got to first look at what he looks like as Wonka.
He looks like Gonzo as Bob Cratchit.
Oh my God.
Yep, he does. You're absolutely right.
I can't take credit for that. I saw that, but now I can't unsee it because he's dressed exactly like Gonzo as Bob Cratchit.
He is. You're right.
By the way, this is a terrible idea.
Yeah, it's an all musical too. That's the other thing. So like, I don't.
All right, terrible idea. Just like graduate to
I don't know. The last one was horrible. A musical. I mean, like the good.
Well, I mean, there's always a musical element to the movies with the Oompa Loompas.
Gene Wilder's singing. Gene Wilder sings too in that.
Yeah, that's true.
It's more subdued. It's not like a 1930s MGM musical, like But I mean, it's like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is pretty damn musical.
Yeah.
Especially the tunnel.
Yeah. That thing is messed up.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. I mean, the Candyman song at the candy store.
Wrong movie.
Yep.
No.
That is another reboot. Okay, time out. The Candyman was rebooted successfully. That was actually awesome.
Okay.
So we're talking about these horror movie things. The tunnel scene in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory might be the most frightening thing shot in the 1970s.
Yes. For what reason, I don't know.
To show, Gene Wilder wanted people to be scared of Willy Wonka, and it's like mission accomplished.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like it's up there with Texas Chainsaw. There's less blood, but psychologically, it's messed up.
Yes. But I mean, getting back to the whole idea of rebooting it, like it feels like they just rebooted it.
It was 2005, man. It's been 16 years.
Okay, it's still not that long.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not arguing with you because the Burton Depp one sucked. So there's no need, right? Are we all in agreement with this? There's no need for a Wonka reboot.
Absolutely none.
No. I don't understand the thought process other than Hollywood's too afraid of original ideas. How's that?
Yep, that's what it is. And I curse this movie to fail miserably at the box office.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I do too. I'm on board with that. How about we inject something that I've got?
Oh, fine.
Oh, yeah, please, let's do it. What do you got, John?
John's got a story. John's bringing the news, people. This is a first for superhero speak.
So
we're listening intently, John. What is the news? Sorry.
I've seen this kid. Oh, he was in We're the Millers. That was funny.
He was in a lot. Was it Will Poulter has been cast as Adam Warlock in Guardians of the Galaxy?
This is confirmed.
Yes. Yep.
Not just an IMDb credit, but like
No. I saw them looking at it too. There's another source on this.
There's he's been in Midsommar and Black Mirror, Bandersnatch, and Maze Runner. We're
the Millers. He's hilarious in that movie.
So
you guys are getting paid? Yeah. Not what I think of as Adam Warlock, but this is Gunn, so I bet his audition was fantastic.
Yeah.
Cool.
I just hope it can stand having gold makeup.
I think
he got no choice, really.
Yeah. Well,
can they use the computer to change their skin gold though?
Oh yeah, they did in WandaVision. They were changing colors on what's his face all the time. Like that, almost everything about him was CGI except for he acted. They CGI'd onto him.
You're talking about Vision.
Vision, yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Don't have to cover
Disney
people in gold paint anymore.
Well, yeah, I mean that's been a problem for a lot of actors. Like you look at like Star Trek, and a lot of aliens changed between the original Star Trek and the Next Generation, and
the Klingons
and whatever. Yeah, well, the Klingons and some other and the Bajorans, because actors that were supposed to play, like I just read this, the one who played Jadzia Dax in Deep Space Nine. The reason why her Trill is different from the one that appeared in the Next Generation is because she couldn't stand the forehead, the plastic makeup for the forehead. She'd break out. So they changed how Trills look just because of that.
Well, not only that, if you cover someone completely in gold, we learned this in Goldfinger that it will kill them because it'll suffocate their skin. And even though that sounds made up for a movie,
gold.
Yeah,
they proved it on MythBusters.
That's also so. Coincidentally, the Wizard of Oz, Buddy Epson was supposed to be the Tin Man, and the original makeup that they were using on him was, I believe, it was aluminum, and he was getting like aluminum poisoning. So that's why they had to recast.
Surprised it wasn't mercury back then. Might have
been honestly, John. It might have been mercury in it because it was something that was like slowly killing him, and he like got really sick and he couldn't finish the role. Making of that movie is an absolute disaster. It's amazing. Yeah. They had like 5 directors in that thing. It's astounding. They got a good movie out of it.
It's a little hexavalent chromium. I'm sure you'll be fine. No problem.
All right. So we got our Adam Warlock. So
yeah,
cool. Let's see what they do with it.
It wasn't a teaser that went nowhere or an end credit scene that went nowhere. So
yeah.
Well, Marvel made that more difficult than it needed to be. I'm sure they would have liked to have had Guardians 3 out by now.
Yeah, that's true.
But Adam Warlock means that opens the door to a lot of stuff. Like, are we going to see Eon and the Living Tribunal and like that opens the doors. We're already going to see Celestials, so we're getting the full Marvel universe now.
That's one of the things too, though. Like a lot of times you get those stingers, but the stingers don't always have to pay off in the same franchise. Like they could have used Adam Warlock by now somewhere else.
I don't know. I think it's better with the Guardians, to be honest, because we're not in space enough.
Well, maybe they need to get into space more often.
Yeah,
plus the storyline with him in Infinity War was weird in the comics, but here
super weird. It's like it'll be fun.
Yeah,
it'll be fun.
All right.
I contributed. I don't have to do anything again until 2022.
So our good buddy, have you ever read the Prophet books?
The Rob Liefeld Prophet.
Yeah, Liefeld. Yeah, Rob Liefeld Prophet.
I know of it, but I never read it. No.
Well, Jake Gyllenhaal and Sam Hargrave are teaming up with Studio 8 to make a live-action Prophet.
Why?
Because it's probably, my guess, it's probably a part of some deal that they have with Liefeld properties somewhere, you know?
Do you know how obscure Prophet is of all the stupid Rob Liefeld properties there is out there? Like Youngblood, Supreme. God, his books aren't very good. Threw it in my head. Like, whatever.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, like, do you know of Prophet, John?
No, I don't. That's
my point exactly. And you lived through the 90s. Like, you were a collector in this era.
But you're naming these Liefeld things. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Not really that great, huh?
Rob Liefeld's not that great. Like, especially as a writer. Like, you know what? That Supreme was a great book when Alan Moore was. It was like a pastiche of the Silver Age Superman.
Yes.
Those are great books. That would be a really good movie. So of course they're not going to.
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm actually I was trying to find something. It's a film, but like in studio, it's doing it, but like I don't know. We'll see where it happens. It's not like it's a coming to Netflix or something like that.
Lots of things go into development, and we never see anything from them.
Exactly.
So let's see where this goes. I am color me skeptical on whether or not Prophet will see the light of day.
Well, Jake Gyllenhaal, maybe. Wasn't he a pick? God. Wasn't he a pick for a lot of people to play Adam Warlock?
He's been a pick for everybody to play everything. Jake Gyllenhaal has been attached to every character over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. Like, people have wanted to suit Jake Gyllenhaal up in everything. And we finally got him as Mysterio, which nobody saw coming.
True.
And he did good.
He did. It was great.
And now we'll get him as Prophet.
People got to watch picking up these C and D level like independent books or movies because especially stuff from the 90s, because I think what you think it is. I mean, like, are we gonna get a Shadowhawk movie next?
Oh my God, Shadowhawk. Yeah.
Shadowhawk had a cool gimmick because you didn't know who he was, right? And that was part of the fun of Shadowhawk was they had all these characters. You were trying to figure out who
was he, the
Shadowhawk
robot, or was he? Yeah.
He looks kind of like a robot. He had like a Hawkeye type thing, but it was like Batman meets Hawkeye.
Yep.
I think that was Mark Silvestri.
I actually have those down in my basement.
Yes, I believe it was.
I mean, the gimmick is kind of cool, but once they've told you who he was, it was like, oh, okay. I mean, that's like there's a time limit on that.
It kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
So
Image books sucked, man. The vast majority of them were freaking terrible.
So speaking of comic properties coming to life, we had talked about WandaVision not getting a second season, but appears that a character from WandaVision will be getting their own spin-off.
But there's really not much you could do to give WandaVision a sequel, right? Like it told the story, and that the story's.
But do you want to see Agatha have her own spin-off?
Well, if they're going to do a season of Agatha Harkness, then yeah, and that ends, to move the rest of the franchise forward. Then yeah, because that's probably what they're going to do.
So Kathryn Hahn is going to headline a WandaVision spin-off. And
you could watch her all day. I mean, she's just awesome. So.
But here's my question. Do you do a spin-off about her becoming Agatha Harkness? Or do you spin off from the end of WandaVision where she was left without her memory?
I think you got to spin off from the end because we saw how she became, right? I mean, and if they're not going to do the whole real story of it, like there's not many places we can go. I mean, I think the money is in the future with the character.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine they have a pitch. So.
Yeah. Besides, they've introduced her. Like you could have this would be a reverse Wanda. She goes from same Wanda actually. She goes from not knowing who she is, strange things happening, to realizing who she is, and at the end, I don't know, like Doctor Strange shows up and says, "I need your help" or something like that. No, I mean, like Agatha Harkness. I mean, she was a background player, but she was still a player in Marvel Comics, right?
Mephisto shows up and says, "I need your help."
Oh God, we're gonna keep that alive.
Until he shows up in something, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He's gonna show up eventually. He has to.
Yeah.
And my money is in a Disney Plus show, not in a movie.
China doesn't have Disney Plus.
Exactly.
Which is why the exclusives for him not being in WandaVision are stupid. But it was fine. I get what they meant. They wanted Agatha to be the villain. And in retrospect, seeing where the plot went, Mephisto wouldn't have made sense. So I'm good with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it had to be a villain that mirrored her powers as typical Marvel formula.
That's what they do. They don't buck the formula.
Nope. No, they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. The villain is a mirror of the hero.
Every single time. Except in Spider-Man movies. They actually have bucked it in that one.
Well, because he's got a huge rogues gallery that everyone knows.
Because he's got the best, arguably the best rogues gallery in comics.
Between him and Batman, I think.
Between him and Batman, it's arguable.
Yeah.
Loki did okay.
Loki is also a dark reflection of Thor.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Loki's a dark reflection of Thor, and then Loki's protagonist was a variant of him, literally.
Yes. Loki is literally the whole concept behind Loki.
Protagonist, love interest. I mean,
they sometimes are one and the same.
Weird show. But that's what they do, right? Like the Red Skull is Captain America.
Yeah.
Right? Like Captain Marvel was the evil Kree guy whose name escapes me at the moment. Like, yeah, this is what we do at Marvel.
Ronan, right? Was it Ronan?
That was actually in Guardians. Actually, Guardians did buck that trend.
Yeah.
Probably why I like that movie so much.
Yeah. I think Ragnarok kind of bucks it.
Ragnarok bucks it too. Well, yeah, because Ragnarok is no Hela.
Yeah, you're right.
Hela's a dark reflection more of Odin, but it's still there.
Well, yeah, but it's not quite the same as
Not quite the same.
Iron Man versus
it's
Ironmonger.
Yeah,
you're right.
right.
Yeah, you're right.
But and both Guardian movies did buck the trend.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Gunn's on another level, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
He gave us Starro, for God's sakes.
Oh, God.
He made Starro the dumbest character in all of comics. Horrifying. I will never, ever say a bad word about that man because of this.
Yep.
Like, genius.
And now you're a fan of Starro.
Huge fan of Starro. Huge.
All right. Well, unless John has anything else to add, that is all the news we have this week.
The only other thing I wanted to interject was it seems like there's a lot of news making the rounds about the Great Philly Comic Con. Like nobody can even find the original owners anymore. Like they can't get a hold of them. All the ticket holders that were holding tickets from last year for this year are starting to I think the authorities are starting to get involved, and I'm like really sad because that was like one of the best cons we went to.
I have not been following that, so I'll have to. So like their website's gone and everything.
Well, the website isn't like some of the website isn't loading anymore. And this is one of the best cons, and they do I think they're saying that they also did the Allentown Comic Con or whatever.
Yes, they also did Allentown.
So, but yeah, they can't get a hold of the owners, and it's just, I mean, and I thought I saw something from some people we know too, from some people we know. I'll tell you off air.
Okay.
It was very Italian. Yeah, some people I know.
Yeah. Well, people we know that are in the know, and apparently they know something even more about this that I actually might reach out to them about. Because check the time. All right, I'm just saying this was one of the best cons we went to because it was still small. They still sold a lot of comics and a lot of stuff like that, and it was really easy to get interviews there. They didn't have 15 layers of security between us and the talent. We could actually walk up to them and talk to them every once in a while.
So basically the last thing posted on their Facebook was from March talking about them canceling the show for this year. And then that's about it. Like there's been nothing from them since then, it looks like. So interesting. We might have to investigate this.
Yeah.
Investigative reporting from Superhero Speak. Yeah.
Cool.
Right.
Who's going to do that?
John.
Oh, go get him, John.
Yeah, so, I'll just call the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office because apparently they're involved.
All right. Well,
I know. Yeah, for real. Like this is, I wouldn't be bringing it up unless I'm really sad about it and that it wasn't real. It's like
that's kind of heavy for this show. Like,
while John puts on his investigator's hat, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I feel like we need to get Matlock on the case.
Ironside.
All right. We're gonna end this week.
Check the Night Stalker.
That would be more appropriate.
Yes.
I mean, what's the guy who's always asking questions and following the people around? I forget what his name is.
Columbo.
Excuse me. Just one more thing. Just one more question. It's the greatest detective show ever.
Yeah. I mean, it's either that or Monk. Either one of those would annoy the crap out of them until they just
Monk is basically Columbo.
True. Well, Columbo and Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, he's like Sherlock Columbo.
All right.
Christopher Columbus's actual name was Christopher Colombo. And it's a true story. Because Columbus is not an Italian name, right? But when he did his whole thing and came back, he was super important. So like Stradivarius, whose name is Stradivari, changed it to something more Latin sounding to be more important.
Yeah, the Vikings found North America way before he did. There were
people here.
Yeah.
There were already people here. You can't discover something that has a fully functional civilization.
And they're finding out by they were here for 100,000, 200,000 years before.
Yes.
So,
but yes, I can say that I'm Italian.
We learned it in school. What was it when the Alaska and they believe
because our
when Alaska and Russia were
the Bering Strait.
The Bering Strait that they
land
walked
bridge.
over.
The
Yeah,
land
they walked the land bridge over to Canada and down
During the
into
last
the
ice
United
age.
States.
Because it was damn cold. And it's still cold up in Iceland. I'm sorry, wrong end. Up in Siberia and Alaska and northern Canada.
All right. It's enough Columbus talk. All right, boys.
It's Indigenous Peoples Day now. So
it is Indigenous Peoples Day. Listen to People of the Sun from Rage Against the Machine, everyone. It's just a good song.
Tip of the day.
All right, boys and girls.
The more you know.
Slow news week. You get the banter on the slow news weeks.
I'm trying. I'm really trying. All right, boys and girls. As promised, I did a bunch of interviews from the convention, and we're going to figure out how to get them all out to you eventually. Some might be on our Patreon. More on that later. But I did want to do this one this week because, again, I mentioned earlier at the top of the show, our good friend Ben was walking around. He didn't have a table, but he is promoting his new book, Second Place. And again, he was looking for, people to talk to and whatnot. So I got to talk to him for about 10 minutes, and that was a really great interview. So without further ado, here is Ben Goldsmith.
Editor's note. So once I got home and started listening to the interviews, I noticed Ben's was a little messed up sound quality wise. It has been cleaned up as best as I can. So please forgive the sound quality, but here we go. Here is our interview with Ben Goldsmith.
We're already recording too. Hey, so we are still here at New York Comic Con. We happen to run into our favorite person to talk to.
Wow, favorite?
It's always a good time. Ben Goldsmith, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. I would like to start off by saying thank you, John, for not being here. I don't know if you know why, but thank you. That'll be for you, buddy.
All right, so you're not in a table show. You're walking around, shaking hands.
I am, yeah, literally as I saw you as we were doing that exact thing. Yeah, man, because I have a badge that says pro, which is great because that means someone thinks that I'm a pro, which is really cool. Because I did the same thing before, just with less credentials. So now it's certified bullshitting is what it is. The difference is what it is.
So what do you think of the con this year?
Man, it's so great. So it just looks like everyone's so happy to be back, and everyone's wearing the masks and being respectful. And it just looks like that thing of we all know how precious and how fragile this toy is, and no one wants to break it. We're all, you know what I mean? We're all happy to have it back.
Yes.
Mom and Dad gave it back to us. And we were like, no, we'll take care of it this time, we promise, So it's just nice, because then, I think myself, like a lot of people for the last 2 years or so, you're looking at the world and you're looking at, it just looks like it's a bummer, but then you come back and everyone's happy to be back, and I'm happy to see everyone, and it's like, I don't know, man, this is the stuff where you need that shot of humanity, because it balances everything out, and that's what so it's been great.
I know that you're currently promoting Second Place.
I am, yeah. So, the Second Place is coming out, which is a mockumentary alien bodybuilding book. And what I mean by it is sorry, my mask is home. I don't talk. Because the mockumentary element is, first of all, it's one of my favorite styles of television and movies, right? Like, come on, man, it's one of the funniest. And it also, believe it or not, like as a writer, you get so much leeway because get the bumpers, right? So the bumpers literally say who the person is and what they do, and you can play with that and also use that as your sort of exposition, so you don't have to try to bake it into the conversation. Right. So, I mean, you already got, like, stylistically something that makes my job easier, but then you get that fun, you're like, oh, well, and here's where you change the bumper up, and it's something funny that comments on what's happening. And then it's just like, again, I'm too late to invent the Superman, dude. It's done. It's been done. So I got a mockumentary book on it, And so that book's coming out through Diamond. It'll be in stores in December. 4-part series. The first issue is it has an A and B cover, which is my first A and B cover ever. And the B cover is done by Rob Guillory, who is one of my all-time favorite artists. Farmhand Chew. The guy's just one of the greatest. So he did a cover for it, and it looks incredible.
And it's in previews now?
It's in previews right now, right this minute. If you were at a comic shop, and you're listening to this, and it's October 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, whatever, this month, October, it's in the previews book under Source Point Press for second place,
And so, one of the things...
I know, we both abandoned the mask.
One of the things I've been asking...
I mean, we hugged earlier, so I don't know, I think we're giving the game away. I'm vaccinated, so is David, we're good.
You have to...
That is true. That's been great. We went to the Museum of Natural History earlier too, and you had to be vaccinated, which I think is wonderful. It's like, yeah, we did our part, and now here are the rewards. You know, we did our societal duty, and here are the rewards now.
You've been a good boy.
Yeah, exactly.
So, we're making fun of it and having fun, but one of the things I've been talking to people about, 2020 has been a lot of people months.
Yeah.
It's been tough. So what did you do to get through the last year?
Oh, man, well, I relied on seeing all the stuff you guys post on Facebook, right? Like, I mean, really, talking with you guys and David specifically, but also just in general, like, you know, staying in touch with people as much as you can. Getting comics is always a time-consuming thing anyway.
Right.
So I'm always sort of like 2-3 years in any process of anything I'm working on. So I kind of there was a lot of stuff that was kind of being made that I would have been talking about anyway, you know, and now it's just I get to talk about it and then you get to see it.
Right.
Like the book, another one, Alex Cormack and I did a book that's going to be with Black Caravan. The Scouting. That hasn't been officially announced, but I mean, it's a done deal, so I can talk about it. I mean, it's, and these are all things that I've been working on that now, I guess maybe it might affect me personally, business-wise, 2-3 years when I'm not working on the books that I would have been working on having started in 2020. I mean, emotionally, we all, I think it's all here and there. What Rue, my fiance is actually here. Rue, what did we do to get through 2020? Animal Crossing?
Yes, Animal Crossing, Tiger King, along with
yeah, with the rest of the world, right.
A lot of getting lost in Netflix.
Yeah. Eating, right. I think I also, one of the biggest things personally was I stopped drinking in 2020. So it's been about almost 2 years. Personal development, yeah. And I've noticed because you're talking with everyone, and I can't wait to hear this and hear what other people say, because I think it's, we either took this unprecedented moment in time where we got to nod, right? Just nod across the board. And you either used it to your advantage or you let it use you. And it's not always easy, don't get me wrong. It's not always easy to do the former, and the latter creeps up on you, right? Letting it take you. I don't, maybe, shit, I don't know. I really don't know how I wish I had better answers, but I was able to, keep writing. Wow, man, what a wildly good question that really is, because now I feel so inadequate in the answer because, we have a dog, which helps a lot too. I think it really helps a lot. Yeah, how about you? What did you do to get through?
Okay. Well,
did you? Are you still in it? Are you not here right now? Are you a time traveler?
Well, I don't know if you're aware of this or not. Right at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020.
Yes, I'm very well aware.
Yeah, so
not my favorite thing to bring up in life, but
it's I was already dealing with stuff when this happened, and I threw myself into the gym. I lost pounds.
Yeah, you did.
And I did just trying to eat better, just to make sure that I'm there for my kids, my grandkids.
So you managed to do the using that time to your advantage, especially under at this moment, right?
Yes.
A fucking unimaginable duress. And it's like, if someone asks you, how did you not just fall into you have the kids? The kids is that helps a lot.
Yeah, and I just know she wouldn't want me to.
Fucking right. That's right, dude. Well, so you sent me a message that I actually, again, it's not something I'm going to be like, hey, Dave, let's talk about shitty things. I'm like, hey, guess what? My dad died when I was a kid. I'm not going to do these things. But at the end of the day, we are all humans. We have human things happen to us. Now, you sent me a message when the unspoken thing that we're grateful to John for happened. And you said something to the effect of Can I say? Yeah. All right. So John wasn't here, and my fiance was able to come into the show because of this. And one of the things that David said was, immediately was like, if you can spend time with us. And I knew what it was, dude. I knew what that message was. I knew what that meant, and like, it meant a lot to me to see you say that because I know what you've been through, dude. So like, again, it wasn't something I was going to, but these are, and we don't. This is fun too, is you don't really know how people appreciate you in certain ways unless I guess you start talking about this. Because how would you have known that I knew that little sentence that you sent meant the world to me because you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So, human connection, that's how I got through the shit.
Yeah, I mean, and what I'm following that up with is, I know, obviously, from doing this for so long, I know so many independent artists and creators who are still struggling. So, what would you say to them?
Oh, boy. I just gotta keep making things. We are fortunate enough. All right, this short time. When I was in college, my best friend in the world committed suicide. Now, for the rest of that year, I was completely adrift. I was doing awful. I was doing terrible. Did not do school. End of the year, we had the teachers give us the reviews and say, where you been? Goldsmith, where you been? I was like, this thing happened. It's like, and I was in for theater and writing and stuff. And Christian listened goes, what are you, a moron? And I was like, whoa, that's a heavy thing. He goes, no. Here's what I mean. You are in a position where what you're studying, what you're doing, is the act of exploring and understanding your emotions that no one else gets to do. You think accountants get to go to work and go, I wonder what my emotions are today. No, dude. And he said, use it. You spent an entire year hiding when you could have been engaging, because that's what we do. So I think about that a lot. And that's what this last couple of years has been. Instead of hiding, I've been engaging. And that's, so even if no one's asking for it, you gotta keep making things that's, it's the opposite of death isn't life, it's creation. Life is stagnant. Creation for one.
So it sounds like
that's deep, huh?
Woo! It sounds like everyone else that I've talked to before, your perspectives have changed a little since all this has happened. So I'm going to ask you the question we always end on.
Ooh.
Which is, how do you measure success?
Is Rachel yelling at me? No, I measure success by. I'm thinking of this because of where we are right now. We're sitting in our salad. I measure success by the fact that if I can walk up and down these aisles and I can stand at a booth with a guy who is a very talented artist, talking with other people that I've just met who I like and they seem to like me enough, and then a buddy of mine, David, comes up and he's got a thing that's cool, and I don't feel like a stranger. I actually feel like I can walk up and down these aisles and I feel like a part of this, man. Because for my whole life, I've never felt like a part of the thing. I've always felt on the outsides. And the fact that I can come here and feel like a part of the thing and not feel like a poser, and because, buddy, I spent years walking up and down the aisles doing my best to try to get people to take me seriously. And it's not, Marvel, DC, they're not knocking down the door, but I don't feel like that poser anymore, which is, dude, come on, that's the best. Having a community is success. Having a community that respects you is success.
All right. So, wrap up. Find people where they can find you online.
For sure. You can find me online at www.davidmarkowskihasastinkytaint.com. And if I actually got a smile out of Frank too, which is, I think that's a rare one. Instagram at Mr. Ben AU. You can find me on Facebook, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, we'll order second place and go some more water when it comes down.
All right.
Thanks. Those are great questions, man. Those are great.
All right. Thanks for that, Ben. And then John's putting stuff in the chat we'll have to talk about later. All right. But I think that's a good place to put it in. Anyone got any recommendations for our audience this week? John?
I
know JD does. That's why I'm going with John first.
I know. I thank you. The new anime that I just shotgun today, and yes, that is a thing, is called. You okay?
I was doing the beer. I was doing the shotgun.
You have to look at JD while you're saying
good,
things.
good. It's called
trying to break you.
It's it's called Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation. Just look up Jobless Reincarnation.
I absolutely love that title.
It is such a good anime. And yes, it's another isekai. You know, somebody gets hit by Truck-kun and gets sent to another world. But Truck-kun's very famous in anime circles now. He has his own shows. And basically, it's another isekai, but this one is done so unbelievably well and so much more realistically that I mean, the studio that's making it, they spun off a separate studio that's just doing this one anime. That's unheard of. That's how much they believe in it. And there's like 24 episodes and everybody's already screaming for season 2. So, it's I don't know. It's really good. That's all I can say. Like everything about it. The music's amazing. The animation is unbelievable. And the storyline is something that we can all like. Isekais are usually about, I sent Dave to another world. Well, I ran over Dave and sent him to another world. And then from there, you never usually hear about the person's former life. Whereas this one, it plays a critical role in the development of the character. So
that explains so much. You ran me over and sent me to another world.
Yes, that's what I'll do. Send you to another world. No.
I was probably happy in my old world.
Apparently, according to Japan, you'd be much happier in another world.
Oh, I might be at this point.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Fair.
We do live in the dumbest timeline, so
fair.
How about you, JD? What do you got?
The latest issue of Amazing Spider-Man. As promised, it's very thick too. This is the final issue of Nick Spencer's run. We're bringing back Ben Reilly. We learned that at the very end as the Amazing Spider-Man. We don't know how yet. This wrapped up the series, right? They've undone sins past. It was okay. So let me break this down to you, right? Because this is actually really cool and really heavy. So Norman Osborn, the reason he had all his success is because he sold a soul to Mephisto. Not his soul. That would be crazy. He sold Harry's.
Of course he did.
So when Harry dies, because you open this up, right? You guys are old fans. What do you have? You have the end of Spectacular Spider-Man 200, the death of Harry Osborn, the original art Sal Buscema. When Harry died, he went to hell. But before he did that, he programmed an AI, a computer-generated artificial intelligence, to torture both his father and Peter Parker from beyond the grave. So that is how we've got the twins, Gabriel and Sarah Stacy, the twins that were supposed to be Gwen Stacy and Norman Osborn's children. They aren't. They're clones that were actually they were actually tortured by Mephisto.
Jesus.
And the big thing is Norman isn't crazy anymore. So Norman has to face all of these problems as a sane man, and it's actually horrible for him. And then Harry, the Harry that's been in the comics since 2008, is revealed to be a clone.
This is sounding familiar.
No, but it clears all it out because he's dead. They kill him. The two Stacy kids kill him, and they said they're just kind of setting it all back. And this whole thing is a Faustian gamble between Mephisto and Doctor Strange. And Doctor Strange, this whole thing has been a gamble. Doctor Strange and Mephisto, and you're allowed two champions. And Doctor Strange bet on Peter and Mary Jane. And together they get there together and they save the day together. And Mephisto goes, "Why are you so interested in Peter Parker? Like, he's so insignificant. Why set up all these roadblocks for just him?" And we reveal that Mephisto is not afraid of Peter Parker. Yeah, I'll pull this page up because the page is great. You guys might like this actually.
Show it on our podcast.
I will. We'll show it to you guys and I'll explain it.
Yeah.
What scares him more than anything, let me try to handle this right,
is
Mayday Parker. She is the one in the future who will take him down. So that is why he destroyed the marriage.
Interesting.
Trying to prevent May Parker from being born, which makes all it took was 13 years to make sense of this fucking storyline, which if they'd given me that in 2007, I'd be like, oh, that makes sense. There's a little girl running around. It's Mayday.
It took for that long for them to write themselves out of that corner.
Nick Spencer, man, credit to Nick Spencer. His entire run was about redoing and trying to make sense of two of the worst Spider-Man stories ever written. right? Sins past never happened. It was all a con, right? And Harry coming back to life never made sense. And if Spectacular Spider-Man was 200 is great, clone Harry. We've had a fake Harry running around who actually dies valiantly. So once again, Harry Osborn gets to go out as a hero.
Nice.
Right? Like he really did a great job setting all these pieces right. And Peter and Mary Jane are together again. They're not married, but they're together. And now I'm assuming something horrible is going to happen to Peter next issue. Because Peter's not allowed to be happy, you know?
No, he's going to go back to Doctor Strange and say, you know what? Can we annul my marriage again?
The marriage isn't old. They're just dating now. But again, we're getting Ben Reilly back next issue. So I don't know how this happens.
Unless there's some kind of accident where he loses his leg.
It looks like the cover of the next book is he is laid up in a hospital bed, like looks like he's going to die. Which Peter dies every few years. But I'm I think we're the 25th anniversary of the Clone Saga. So let's bring Ben Reilly back as Peter Parker as Spider-Man for a little bit. I'm good with it. I think it's okay.
Yeah, the leg reference is obviously from Spider-Girl.
Yes, that's correct. I forgot about that.
He's missing. That's why he stops being Spider-Man.
That's why he stops being Spider-Man. I forgot about it. They could do that. I want to see, like I said, it was a really good ending. I'm not the biggest Nick Spencer fan in general, but I think they really stuck the landing on this one. Like it was a good read, and like he really did the ultimate Spider-Man fan thing where it's like, you know what? I'm on my way out. I'm going to try to set the Sam Beckett, if you will, trying to set right what once went wrong.
You're making me want to buy Spider-Man books.
It was good. Like I said, like I got a subscription going because this Ben Reilly thing intrigued me, right? Because at the time, the Clone Saga is the worst thing that happened to comics. But then you look back on it, you're like, there was some fun stuff in there actually. So and they're doing the thrice monthly thing, which is a good gimmick for me. It makes the books a lot cheaper than subscription. So
who's the writer again? Then we should be.
This was Nick Spencer. He's actually going to be leading the whole Substack revolution. Like Substack hired him, and he's kind of he's out because this is like he's all about Substack and independent comics now.
So basically, whatever he puts out or writes, maybe we should check it out.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. I mean, if you're into Substack, I mean, like I did not like his early independent stuff, but this Spider-Man was really good. Tip of the cap. I'm curious to see what the new group does with Ben Reilly when it comes up next month.
Okay.
So yeah, that was a long way to go with me saying this was really good comics.
Yes, it was. Yes. All right. Well, I would recommend that you go to superheroespeak.com, where not only can you find the podcast every week, you can find blog posts about New York Comic Con and my experience there, plus comic book reviews by our good friend D Square. And for those who are asking me in chat if I'm going to post the photos to our website right now, no, the only place you can see the photos from New York Comic Con are on our Instagram. So bite the bullet and get on Instagram. Sorry, a friend of mine.
It's Instagram. It's free. Come on.
Exactly. Man. A friend of mine keeps bugging me, and it's like, no, just go to Instagram. He has a Facebook. Like they're owned by the same company. Just what's the big deal?
Maybe not for long.
well, let's see how that plays out.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Litigations aside, right now they're owned by the same company.
For now.
So, and man, you know what? Actually, yes, I got a recommendation. There'll be an interview coming up, but R.C. Young has a series out called Witchman. It's a comic series. It's about superheroes in medieval times or like in Lord of the Rings type setting. Yeah. So I'll say this much about it. She has a background in animation, and you definitely get that feel when you're reading the first issue that like, oh, okay, this is somebody who has a background in animation. She said it gets better as the issues go along. She has 11 out right now at this point. So yeah, so go check her out. You can find her on Instagram and Facebook but look up RC Young. You'll find her website and you can buy the books from there. So yeah, I quite enjoyed him. All right. On that note, boys and girls, as always, thanks for listening, and don't let your cape caught in the door. Have a good week.